Please join us in standing as we present the colors and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing as we sing. Lift up your voice and sing.
Who turned it to the side? Switch this back around. Come on, ready? No, not that.
Good evening. That wasn't loud enough. I said good evening. I am Jordan Duncan, 2021-2022 Senior Class Vice President and number 7 in this graduating class. I will preside over the class of 2022's Visions of the Future ceremony. To our family, friends, staff, and loved ones, thank you for joining us tonight. Please be mindful that this is a formal occasion. Therefore, we ask that you give it the respect it deserves. We know that you are excited about this just as we are. Catcalls, yelling, obscene gestures, and inappropriate behavior distracts from the sentiments of this ceremony. Please allow all guests in this space to enjoy this long-awaited experience. Thank you, family and friends, for honoring our request. Before we begin tonight's ceremony, we would like to acknowledge our fallen raiders who passed away during our high school career. Please pause for a moment of silence to recognize Tamaya Bedford and Hartford Head. Thank you. We will now have Kamari Dixon and Ani Diaz Hernandez to come forward to officially welcome you to tonight's occasion.
To Dr. Wilkins, assistant principals, faculty, staff, parents, relatives, and friends, good evening. My name is Kamari Dixon, and it is with great pleasure that I walk into the Visions of the Future ceremony. As we, the proud graduating class of 2022 from the Benjamin E. Mays High School, prepare to take the next step in the journey of life. I plan to attend the University of West Georgia and plan to major in theater. As a class, we have faced a different kind of high school experience, but we made it to the finish line. High school for us was disrupted in 10th grade year, and we had a lot to do that forced us to adapt and learn and interact with our teachers and friends. Being at home for us was very hard, but it made us improve for the better because the only thing that's constant in life is change. With that confidence, my advice to the class is to be yourself, love yourself, and take care of yourself. You do not have to settle for anything less than what you get out of your life experiences. At Mays High School, we live by a motto, and that motto is a legacy to keep and an image to uphold. As you live by that, reflect on what you put out into the world. We are part of a making legacy, and that tells us we are everything the world needs and more. I would like to congratulate the entire class of 2022 and thank the parents, teachers, and staff. I wish you success and welcome and enjoy Vision 2022.
A la doctora Wilkins, subdirectores, personal de la facultad, padres, familiares y amigos, buenas noches. Me llamo Ani Díaz y es con gran placer darles la bienvenida a nuestra ceremonia de visiones del futuro como nosotros, la orgullosa clase de graduación de 2022, Benjamin E. Mays High School, preparados para dar el siguiente paso en este viaje de la vida. Como yo planeo asistir a la Universidad de Kennesaw y especializar en kinesiología. Como clase nos hemos enfrentado a un tipo diferente de experiencias en la escuela secundaria, pero llegamos a la línea de la meta. La escuela secundaria para nosotros se vio interrumpida en nuestro 10º año y tuvimos que hacer muchas cosas que nos obligaron a adaptar en la forma que aprendimos e interactuamos con nuestros profesores y amigos. Estar en casa para algunos de nosotros fue muy difícil, pero nos ha hecho mejorar porque lo único que es constante en la vida es el cambio. Nuestras experiencias nos han ayudado a ganar la confianza para mantenernos fieles a nosotros mismos. Con esa confianza, mi consejo para esta clase es que seas tú mismo, te ames a ti mismo y te cuides. No tienes que conformarte con nada menos de lo que quieras sacar de tus experiencias en la vida. En Mays High School vivimos con un lema. Ese lema es un legado que conservar y una imagen que mantener. Mientras vivas de acuerdo con eso, reflexiona sobre lo que pones en el mundo. Somos parte de un legado increíble que refuerza que somos todo lo que el mundo necesita y más. Me gustaría felicitar a toda la clase de 2022 y dar las gracias a los padres, profesores y personal. Les deseo mucho éxito, les doy la bienvenida y disfruten de nuestras visiones 2022.
Thank you, Kamari and Adi, for that welcome. Next, we will have Tasia Rowland come forward to deliver an inspirational message to the graduating class.
Good evening, everyone. When I started my journey here in August of 2018, I came in expecting to be the best. And yes, that's a cliche way to start things, but it's true. I took every opportunity presented to me, good and bad, like deciding to do dual enrollment as a freshman, or taking on too much at once and trying to give everyone and everything my undivided attention. But unfortunately, that equation didn't include myself. For the first 2 years of high school, or whatever you want to call that monstrosity of a sophomore year, I was on autopilot for the most part. Grades, attendance, summer, repeat, grades, attendance, global pandemic, depression. It wasn't all peaches and cream like I expected, especially when we got stuck indoors for a year and a half. My depression hit its peak during lockdown, and I was truly questioning my existence for a while. I didn't know what my purpose here was. I didn't know what value I added to the world, or why I had to be me. I had been trying for so long to live up to others' expectations and morals that I wasn't living to my own. Our junior year definitely didn't make it better. I sat and hoped, prayed that we'll be returning in person to distract myself from the pain inside. But unfortunately, we carried out the rest of our junior year, virtually. And I felt, for lack of better words, unmotivated. But with that time of being forced to be with myself and myself alone, I realized something, that it's okay to not be okay. I stopped living to others' visions of me and started being who I am. Stop trying to save others by disregarding yourself and love yourself. So I'll leave you all here with this. Become who makes you happy, live up to your own expectations, and cherish this time with not just others, but with yourself. I love you, class of 22, and congratulations. Thank you. and contagious for that message. Hello, my name is Denise Gallo, and I have the pleasure to introduce our guest speaker for this evening. Maurice Simpkins comes from humble beginnings in Batesburg, Leesville, South Carolina. Maurice learned from an early age that some parts of life will contain valuable lessons along the way. Maurice, a former NFL linebacker, Green Bay Packers 2010, St. Louis Rams 2011, brings the same energy to his audience as he would any game. Maurice appreciates the many lessons he learned in his short professional football career, and he captivatingly shares them with his audience. Maurice is currently president of Am Simpkins and Associates, a minority-owned higher education ed tech and consulting firm that he leads alongside his wife. This allows Maurice to feed his passion for computer coding and STEM-related fields while pursuing his endeavors of philanthropy. Maurice continues to use the work ethic and leadership skills garnered in the world of professional sports in his motivational speaking engagements and nonprofit events. Inspired by his late grandfather, Andrew Simpkins, Maurice's most valuable asset is the ability to work and connect with everyone he comes in contact with. Experience of his journey from a small town to reach collegiate success and later opportunities at professional football and entrepreneurship have helped Maurice remain rooted to his passions. He always finds ways to give back, sponsoring the Maurice Simpkins Panther Pride football camp in his hometown of Batesburg, Leesville, South Carolina, as well as the Sparkgate camp introducing elementary students to coding and robotics. With his gift to educate, empower, and make a crowd laugh, Maurice is able to transcend his message through any age demographic and is able to make connections with different backgrounds and environments. Join me in welcoming our guest speaker, Mr. Maurice Simpkins.
Thank you so much, Samantha. Here we go. Is that a little better? Can everyone hear me okay? All right. Thank you once for a beautiful introduction. Good evening, everyone. Oh, I like that. Good evening, everyone. Thank you. My name is Maurice Simpkins, and I'm honored to be here today presenting before this 2022 graduating class of Benjamin E. Mays High School. I sincerely thank you for the invitation and extend the warmest welcome to all who made it possible for me to be here today. Addressing this class in 2022 is especially special for me and for a couple of reasons. For starters, Benjamin E. Mays is from South Carolina, just like myself, a few country miles up the road. And I know we be in the city, but there's some folk around here who understand a country way of life with slower things and slower times. Dr. Mays is also a fraternity brother of mine, a member of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. So from one Omega man to another, I salute Mr. Mays, his legacy, his work, the faculty, staff, and most importantly, you, the students, graduating class of 2022, that represent the attainment and ultimate achievement of education that Dr. Mays felt was so vital for all to have. Now, on paper, I may have to what some may perceive to be an academically and professionally great life. I played football from a young age, through childhood, on to college, through a scholarship, and worked my way all the way to my ultimate goal of playing in the NFL. I was also always fascinated by science and technology and earned a degree in computer science and business management from Coastal Carolina University. I now have the opportunity to lead a higher education tech-based firm while I do higher education data integrations with my firm, A.M. Simpkins and Associates. I have a beautiful wife, 4 amazing daughters, what I would call the so-called American dream. It all sounds good. Easy to assume it's been easy, but I will let you know that that's life and it will not be easy. It's easy to assume that someone else's life may have been different or better than yours. Success and achievement, rewards, are all products
of tenacity, perseverance, and dedication to get you through the bumps and the bends. The effects of the COVID-19 pandemic thrust us all into a new world, a post-pandemic world that brought us things that were new, looking at a life that we would never get a chance to go back to. But I want to give you something valuable this evening. I want to talk to you about one of the most meaningful experiences in my life. One of the things that changed my life, whether it was in the middle of a pandemic and all the changes that we see, all the effects on family life, work, travel, academics, and health. And that story begins with me, my grandfather, and me learning patience while fishing at the pond. As a young man, I spent most of my time with my grandfather. My grandfather was born a few short years after Benjamin E. Mays, who's the only person in my life I truly idolized. He and I would spend as much time together if he was doing something I wanted to be doing, just because I wanted to be around him, to soak up his wit and wisdom and love. One of my grandfather's greatest pastimes was fishing. So it became natural that that became one of my favorite pastimes. And over time, became the number one thing that I look forward to us doing together. Fishing gave us a number of rewards. I love fishing. We got to spend time with each other, grandfather, grandson, a man and young boy, with minimal distractions as we talked about life and manhood. But each time before we began our journey out to the pond to do fishing, my grandfather always made sure that we prepared our tackle box. And for me, the tackle box would mean we put in some hooks, we put in some lures, we put in some sinkers, maybe some extra line. And of course, we put in some bait. I like to use a little worms. My grandfather used little baby minnows and such. So some of the greatest lessons in my life, I learned by casting a line into the rod of the water, sitting beside my grandfather. He shared countless stories with me and moral tales as we bonded and simultaneously watched for the bobber to move, jerk, or jolt, and disappear underneath the water. The first few times we went fishing, my grandfather told me there were some instructions that he wanted me to learn to increase my chance of greater success. First, before you throw your line into the water, he said, always take your time, focus, assess the situation, check the weather, look at the atmosphere, know the pond you're going into. From there, he said, find the best time and the best location at that pond for you to fish. He said, every pond has an opportunity for great fish and big fish, but if you rush the decision, you may not be able to find the fish that is right for you. Secondly, he told me to find your own spot. My grandfather would find an area of the pond. It seemed like every time he knew where the fish were. So I would go sit right next to him, just happy to catch some fish. It really wasn't because I was trying to steal his fish or anything, but I wanted to learn the techniques. So my grandfather taught me the techniques of fishing for smaller fish, how to hook a artificial and go for a bigger bass, or how to even go for a fishing of a channel catfish or something of that sort. But soon there came a time when my grandfather looked at me and said that I could no longer sit beside him at the pond, that I would need to find my own spot to fish from at this pond. And I didn't want to leave the side. I was used to fishing beside him, but I also wanted to just have that opportunity to spend time with my grandfather. But he was unrelenting. He said I had to because he believed, no, he knew that I was ready. He taught me to be constantly cognizant of all of the benefits of fishing, but also aware of the dangerous aspects too. The snakes that lurk inside and around every body of water. The dangers that you cannot